Random J Productions presents the Palm Summer League. Today, we're here at the Daytona International Speedway for the 2025 running of the WeatherTech Duels. Now, of course, this is our first ever live stream race on the channel. We've always streamed like practice or testing sessions in the past, but this is our first ever live stream race on the channel. So definitely very, I guess, historic moment here in this final PSL season, and something that's going to be, of course, pretty different. If you watch any of my races before, but I'm going to try to make them as close as I possibly can to the traditional pre-recorded races. And for the record, I don't plan to do any more live stream races in the future, except for maybe like finish, like I did last year, finish the Coke 600 in 2024. But that's the only type of live stream races I plan to do. But for this live stream race is a one-off, just simply because my tight schedule of the Atlanta race weekend. Which, by the way, Atlanta race weekend was pretty epic. At least the cup race. Anyways, so a quick rundown of the duel format. This year's edition, the duels for this time around will be 14 laps as opposed to the old 9 laps. Duel number 1 will consist of drivers in the odd position points, so first, third, fifth, etc. That will set the even spots for rows 4 to 18. While duel number 2 will be the even drivers in points, so second, fourth, sixth, etc. And that will set the outside spots, I should say. Duel 1 will set the inside for rows 4 to 18. And duels 2 will set the outside spots for rows 4 to 18. And just like before, the top 3 finishers of each duel will get bonus points. First place will get 3 points, second place will get 2 points, or third place gets a single point. Also, the driver who leads most laps in each duel will receive a bonus point as well. So theoretically, the max points you can score in these duels is 4 points. And the winners of each duel also move on to the Fast 6 that will set rows 1 to 3. And this will, and of course, as mentioned during our previous practice session, the drivers that went to backups during our first practice session, that being Jordan Forbes, Johnny Hernandez, Caleb Rose, Alexander Vitali, Alexander Rowe, those drivers are excluded from moving on to the Fast 6, even if they finish inside the top 3 because they went to backups, and thus will start in the rear for the Firecracker 400. So without further ado, let's take a look at our starting lineup for duel number 1. So on the pole is points leader Brendan Beal, followed by the 24 Keyshawn Richardson. So 2 former channel champions there. Row 2, defending Firecracker winner and defending series champion Jordan Forbes, who of course one of those drivers I mentioned will have to go to the back for the Firecracker and is not eligible for the Fast 6, even if he does place inside the top 3. And next to him is the 17 of Joe T. Row 3, the 21 of Roberto Crown Jr. and the 20 of Nick Sant, the 2023 winner of the Firecracker 400. Row 4, Johnny Hernandez. Row 4 got both Hernandez drivers, Johnny on the inside and Anthony on the outside. So the 2 Hernandez drivers, as well as the father and son duo, make up row number 4. Row 5, Matthew Burnett in the 03 and the 99 of Alexander Vitali. Row 6, the 15 of Colin Cropley in his first Firecracker start. And next time, another fellow rookie making his first Firecracker start, Jaxon Bergem in the 84. Row 7, the 62 of Patrick Miller and the 9 of Lipsy. Row 8, the 49 of Dylan Matthews and the 48 of Ryan Wilson. Row 9, Madison Chase in the 06 and the 08 of Alex Mullen. But if you hear any weird background sounds, there's a lightning storm passing through my area, because of course our summer has been awful here in Metro Atlanta, but besides the point anyways. And finally, in row number 10 is the 41 of Philip Torres and the 01 of Daniel Voiles. Taking a look at the track info briefly, we're going to go 14 laps in both duels, as previously mentioned, on this 2.5 mile long tri-oval super speedway with 31 degrees of banking in the corners. And as for the weather here today in Daytona Beach, 85 degrees Fahrenheit with 10-mile-per-hour towards the southwest. As previously mentioned again, just to reiterate, the top three gets 3 points if you win the duel, 2 points if you finish second, or 1 point if you finish third. And if you lead the most laps, you also get this extra bonus point as well. Theoretically, you can earn up to 4 points in your duel race. But anyways, without further ado, it is time to start. It is time to get things underway for duel number 1, and I'll have the starting I'll do the starting command this time around, since of course this race is not pre-recorded. So here we go. The starting command for duel number 1. Drivers, start your engines. Wait a sec. Oh, okay. So here we go. Now for duel 1, I'll say I forgot to just lower the volume. I know I'm screwing up the camera, but I don't want the stupid thing to rattle my ear. Anyways, for duel 1, I'll say that I forgot to. I'll just fast forward. I just killed the illusion. For duel 1, usually for the duels, I start the drivers in the backstretch, but for duel 1, I forgot to do that. But it's not that big of a deal. I can just fast forward through this like nothing ever happened. So here we go. Lots of big names in this. So just a few notes here. Keith Emerson's the only Pontiac and Baker dynamic driver even in this duel. So that's definitely going to be. So you'll probably have to find someone to work with, at least for this race, as the other teammates and other Pontiac teammates, I should say, or just Pontiacs in general, are in duel number 2. Of course, you got 2 former Firecracker winners in this duel, both the Hernandez Racing drivers. So it's going to be interesting to see who's going to work with who in this race, because we got some drivers, well, all the teams are in this one, or other organizations, the only drivers that are represented, that have the only drivers represented in this duel. But anyways, pace truck down pit road. We're just about underway to start duel number 1 here at Daytona. So a good launch for the Dodges off turn number 2 that time by Brenton Beal is going to assume the lead. Continuing down the back straight, here's Crown looking to the inside of the 16-1, making it 3 wide already, forcing Richardson to the outside and Forbes having laps to open in the middle. Now the question is, how is this pack going to be for these duels, where we see 3x3 everywhere like we do in the main Firecracker race, or are we going to see drivers be a bit more conservative? Because of course, again, this is a duel race, even though we do earn points. This is still a duel race. You want to save these cars. In the actual Firecracker 400, Brendan Beal leads lap number 1. Crown's going to tuck into second, as we got drivers still 3 wide going into turns 1 and 2 this time. This time Joe T in the middle, forcing Richardson up high. And Colin Croppley pass approaching alongside Burnett. Here's Crown looking to the inside of Beal for the lead. Of course, Roberto Crown Jr. is one of those drivers who normally advanced to the Fast 6 last year, but also started on the front row on the outside pole for last year's Firecracker 400, going to do it again here this year. And we can see drivers already being really aggressive, going 3x3 behind your top 2 as you come off turn number 4. Come to complete lap number 2. It's going to be Roberto Crown leading the way as him and Burnett come down the block to 62. It's Patrick Miller, who is another one of those drivers who was in last year's Fast 6, already inside this picture. As in the 1, you see both Crown and Burnett tried to block the 62 again, but instead elected to stay in the middle. But Burnett's going to move to the middle in front of Croppley. We're moving back up to the outside, down the back straightaway. So this cam here. Down the back stretch again. See drivers back behind your top dozen or so, half dozen or so, all 3x3. Both Hernandez drivers losing ground. Jaxon Bergem behind both of them. And Ryan Wilson and Lipsy, the last 2 drivers on the inside. Coming to lap 4, Roberto Crown once again with the lead. On border from here. And Crown has a pretty decent gap over the rest of the field here. But of course, if anyone's watched any super speeder race ever, including this past Atlanta race, you know, it's not a good thing, because someone's gonna go to a run really quickly, and Patrick Miller going to try to take an advantage of that as they come off turn number 2 here. It looks like Miller is trying to look to the inside of the 31 before both drivers move up the track. Miller to the middle in front of Matthews, before Crown was up at the outside before moving back down to the inside alongside Miller, trying to block the 06 of Madison Chase, who's fast approaching. Coming to lap number 4, once again, is Roberto Crown to the back up front. Of course, again, these are longer duels, so we still have over 11. So we'll have 11 laps. We have 10 laps left, I should say, until this race is over. If this was last year's duel, we'll be over almost pretty much over halfway done now. But now into turns 1 and 2, Miller's gonna force Crown to the to the middle. They're gonna be side by side for the lead off 2 and down the back straightaway. And someone finally, we're gonna see our second lead. We're gonna finally see just our 3rd lead change of the day, or I guess our 2nd lead change of the day. I was right the first time there. But Miller and Crown remain side by side through turns 3 and 4. Madison Chase, the driver behind the 62. As this pack continues to make 3 by 3, Nick Sant, one of the drivers in the middle, alongside Anthony Hernandez. Actually, very few drivers in the middle here, especially up towards the front. It looks like Patrick Miller did indeed beat Crown to the line that time by. As Crown falls down to 3rd, this time he's on the inside. This time he's on the outside. At the inside now, fast approaching. Madison Chase now looking to the now side by side lead with the 62. Continuing down the back straightaway, both Chase as well as the 41 of Philip Torres out of nowhere going to move to the middle. There's Daniel Voiles also trying to side draft the 49 of Dylan Matthews. Can he try to get down to the inside? But quickly before Alex Mullen is going to make it 4 wide through turns 3 and 4. Oh, this is very risky, especially in these dual races, but thankfully they were able to quickly sort that out. This aggressive move is going to pay off as he moves to the inside after starting after starting towards the back. But that time by, Madison Chase led. With Torres being scored 2nd and Mullen in 3rd before he moves to the middle in front of Foils. And then now the 08's going to move instead. And it looks like Mullen is moving into the middle behind Chase before settling in front of his teammate Ryan Wilson. But Madison Chase is now going to move to the outside in front of Torres, I should say. But through turns 3 and 4, Chase and Mullen remain side by side for the lead. But Alex Mullen has one of his teammates, Ryan Wilson, helping him out, alongside Lipstein the 9, who of course was another driver who started towards the back. We got some drivers who, of course, had to go to backups also in this picture, including Alex Vitali. And, of course, Johnny Flores is another driver who had to go to a backup in this duel, as well as Johnny Hernandez. So 3 drivers had to go to backups all in this duel. That time by, Alex Mullen led, but he's going to move to the outside, as well as it looks like Ryan Wilson's team is going to join them also on the outside as he's side by side of Lipsy for the lead, continuing down the back straightaway. But now Lipsy's going to move to the middle in front of Boyle as Alex Sanvitali now the lead driver on the inside with Keith Tyron behind him to help. Oh, Lipsy with a great time. But Lipsy there tried to block through turns 3 and 4. He does so. Looks like he could maintain the advantage on the inside over Sanvitali before off turn number 4. Lipsy's going to move back up. Stingbutt moving back up to the middle in front of Boyle for settling once again on the inside. Coming to lap number 9. Car number 9 currently the leader. But Lipsy's still side by side of Wilson for the lead through turns 1 and 2. Lipsy's going to have the advantage over the 48 car, of course, with that 9 car being on the inside. And while Ryan is debating if he wants to move to the outside, looks like he will move to the outside in front of Mullen. Lipsy's going to move to the middle, as well as Sanvitali. Are they going to move back down to the inside through turns 3 and 4? Looks like no. Keyshawn Richardson's going to take advantage. Looks like no, they will move down to the inside. Thought Keyshawn Richardson was going to get a strong run there through turns 3 and 4, but both Mullen and Lipsy and Sanvitali were able to time to move back down to the inside perfectly to block Richardson's run. But now Lipsy once again moving up the track, this time to the outside. He tries to move down in front of Sanvitali, but didn't have enough time whatsoever. But instead, those two are going to be side by side for the lead here on lap number 10. 99 and 9 remain side by side for the lead as everyone else behind him is all 3 by 3. Lipsy to the outside in front of Wilson. Sanvitali sticking with the inside in front of Richardson before both those drivers move to the middle. Continue down the back straightaway as Sanfilippo move up the track again, this time to the outside. Richardson settles with the middle as here comes Johnny Hernandez now fast approaching. Alright, through turns 3 and 4, both Sanfilippo and Richardson briefly move back down to the inside before moving back up quickly to the up the track as here's Johnny Hernandez, of course, last year's pole winner, fast approaching. As he's still as this pack remains 3 by 3. And just like with Crown earlier, Alex Sanfilippo for a huge gap over the rest of the field, but that's probably not gonna last for long. As someone's probably gonna get a really strong run here through these corners, and I bet that driver is gonna be Johnny Hernandez with help from last year's Firecracker winner Jordan Forbes. Now Jordan Forbes, of course, another one of those drivers. Just like Sanfilippo, Forbes is another one of those drivers who is not really racing. Who is racing well. If he does get inside this top 3, of course he won't be eligible for the Fast 6. But that doesn't mean even if you went to a backup, you can still get points even if you won't advance to the Fast 6. So Jordan Forbes trying to get as many points as he can despite being up in the point standings going into this race. So trying to make this race count. Meanwhile, Alex Sanfilippo side by side with Johnny Hernandez for the lead. Coming to 4 laps to go this time by. I mean 3 laps to go this time by. Yeah, 3 laps to go. Both drivers remain side by side for the lead through turns 1 and 2. Hernandez still has help from Forbes. It looks like Johnny will have the advantage over the former Madhouse Classic winner. So on board with the defending Firecracker winner here. Sanfilippo for a strong run that time by down the back. Into turn number 3, that's going to quickly diminish as the inside's going to a strong run. That's going to excel Johnny to the lead. Johnny Hernandez trying to get inside the Fast 6 for the second year in a row as he moves to the middle from back down in front of Jordan Forbes. 2 laps to go this time by. Coming back inside this picture though is another former PSL champion, that being Brendan Beal, right behind your defending champion for both the series and the Firecracker. Other drivers also in here. Our drivers also fast approaching an inside. Joe T to 17, Colin Cropway to 15. As continuing down the back straightaway, Hernandez is going to move to the outside in front of Sanfilippo. Jordan Forbes thinking about moving to the middle. Looks like he will. He'll move in front of Daniel Voiles, leaving the door for Brendan Beal to be the lead driver on the inside through turns 3 and 4. For Forbes, Coker comes to block. Oh, about to go. We might go through right for the lead off of 4. Forbes once again blocks Beal. That's coming off turn number 4. Beal and Forbes and Hernandez and Johnny remain side by side for the lead this time by. Coming to the white flag here in duel number 1. Johnny and Forbes remain side by side for the lead. Forbes down the middle with no help whatsoever. This is a golden opportunity for Brendan Beal to make it 3 wide for the lead through turns 1 and 2. Your points leader in 2023 PSL champion, trying to earn as many points as possibly can. So now only defend this point to keep his point lead. Down the back for the final time. Brendan Beal still 3 wide with Forbes and Hernandez as we come off turns 3 and 4. This entire pack really all 3 by 3 with the exception of Daniel Voiles in the very, very back. Well, looks like continuing to turns 3 and 4. Looks like off at turn number 4 now. Brendan Beal is going to have the advantage over Forbes. But these two remain side by side, coming to the front straight away to the checkered flag. Looks like Brendan Beal will win duel number 1. Brendan Beal, your 2023 PSO champion and current points leader, as well as, and of course, started on the pole in this race, will finish the race in first, earning 3 points, with Jordan Forbes earning 2 points. But of course, since Forbes went to a backup, he will not advance to the Fast 6. And instead, Joe T will finish 3rd, will advance to the Fast 6 as well. And in Forbes' place, effectively, will be Daniel Voiles in the L1. So, Beal, Joe T, and Voiles will be your 3 drivers here. 3 drivers in this duel that will advance to duel number... that will advance to Fast 6, I should say. Anyways, let's take a look briefly at the finishing results for this duel race. Let me just put this... Okay, there we go. Yeah. Let me just get NR ready for duel 2. It's gonna crash. Yes, NR is gonna crash. Because of course it's gonna crash. Yay, he's gonna crash. Okay. Let me get NR ready for duel number 2, so I can just have it ready to go. We just have to do, hopefully this is the last time I have to open NR. Going back kind of quick. I thought this stream would go a lot longer. So if these are like 30 lap duels, I would be probably obviously would be here much longer. All right. I have Duel 2 on standby in NR, but I'm going to go briefly through the finishing results for Duel number 1 and for Duel number 1. So here we go. Of course, Brendan Beal, your 2023 PSL champion and current points leader, will win Duel number 1. While Jordan Forbes, the reigning PSL champion and Firecracker champion, will finish second. But again, because he went to a backup car, he will not advance to the Fast 6. And instead, GOT, who finished third, and Daniel Voiles, who finished fourth, will be the other two drivers joining Beal in tomorrow night's Fast 6. Meanwhile, Johnny Hernandez, of course, who last year's Pulse winner, will finish fifth in this duel. So he won't have so unfortunately for Johnny, he will not get 2-2. He will not go back-to-back when it comes to Firecracker 400 poles. Colin Cropper finished 6th in the 15, followed by Dylan Matthews in 7th. Alex Sanfitali in 8th. Matthew Burnett in 9th. While Nick Sant, the 2023 Firecracker winner, will round off the rest of the top 10. As for everybody else, Keyshawn Richardson will finish 11th. Roberto Crown, who actually led the most laps here today, he will also get a point after winning this duel, will finish 12th. Anthony Hernandez will finish 13th. Lipsy 14th. Jaxon Bergem 15th. Madison Chasen 16th. Ryan Wilson will finish 17th. Patrick Miller 18th. Phil Torres will finish 19th. While Alex Mullen will round off the rest of the field. So Alex Mullen, despite he was up front for late in his duel, fell back very fast on that outside lane and will finish last. Sadly, pretty disappointing result there for the 08. Anyways, now with that being said, let's take a look at the starting lineup for duel number 2. I was gonna do like an intermission, but I was gonna quickly get ready. I was gonna quickly go through duel number 2 starting lineup since we're here. And I'm kind of hungry. But yeah. Anyways, so on the poll for duel number 2 is... Oh, I forgot to tell you. Sorry. Anyways, so on the poll is Brian Rodriguez, who of course won the poll for the opening summer kickoff for Armory Digital this year. And next to him is Benny Watson, the 79, who's come up also close during the last 2 races at both Japan and Minnesota. Oh, go back to that. Just split it real quick. I want to at least have like 2 to 3 seconds of just the still image when I do the lineup. Anyways, row 2, Jack Costa in the 75 and summer kickoff winner Bibi Ruiz in the 57. Row 3, Random Jane to 53, who of course came up also close during last year's Firecracker, and next to Matthew Hill in the 90. Row 4, I should say, Jordan Stout in the 11, that's of course Random's teammate, and Haley Anderson, who won from the last race at Minnesota. Row 5, the 28 of Riley Spurly, and the 59 of Caleb Rose. Row 6, Alexander Rowan, the 63, and the 98 of Matthew Huber. Of course, Rowe was another driver who had to go to a backup after our practice wreck on Wednesday. Row 7, Campbell Marsh in the 10, and the 96 of Owen Miles. Row 8, the 97 of Nathan Stapleton, and the 4 of Jason Albert. Row 9, the 94 of Jose Angel Gutierrez, and the 81 of Al Bunch. And finally, in row number 10, Kyler Sustron, the 19, and the 6 of Bradley Ream. And now it is time for the command for our second duel race. This time, these drivers are in the backstretch. So the illusion will be somewhat better this time if I can... oh, yeah. Oh, boy. Here we go. Here, Chase. There we go. So, for the starting command for duel number 2, drivers, start your engines. Looks like... I'm not going to fast forward this time, but... here's all the paint schemes, and everyone lined up this time on the backstretch, because this is what I usually do for shorter races, just to, save some time and whatnot. So far, I've been streaming for 26 minutes. If this was a traditional duel of 9 laps, the race would be almost over. But we're still rolling here in Daytona with these longer duels. Oh, no one started. Oh, dang it! I wanted the illusion, but whatever. Anyways. So some notable drivers in this duel. This is where the rest of the Pontiacs are at. Of course, Random and Jordan are starting to notice the tail of one another. Alexander Rose, also also on the inside. We got one half of the Railfan drivers here. Yeah, Railfan drivers are split in both races. Lipsy and Bill in the last one. This time Rose and Bream are in this one. Two NS Racing drivers also as well. Rowley Spurly and Nathan Stapleton. As well as the other Jaxon racing cars. So this duel is actually relatively... So some of these bigger teams that had half their cars in one duel, they have the other half here in this duel. But for now, we're under green in duel number 2. Alright, on here in the back straightaway, Brian Rodriguez gets a good push from the 75 of Jack Koss, fellow Toyota. And so far, everyone seems to remain 2 by 2. Of course, it's just lap number 1. Let's see what happens as you continue to turn stream 4 and come to the start-finish line here. So coming to complete the first lap here in duel number 2, Brian Rodriguez is going to lead lap number 1, but Jack Koss now fast approaching Rodriguez now on the outside. Haas still on the inside as he's turning side by side. Now one driver definitely watch out for is Random J in 53. He is no stranger to going aggressive, especially here at Daytona. Better for worse, as he's behind the 75 of Haas, and he was going to help Haas easily clear Rodriguez off turn number 2 before Haas moves to the outside in front of the 18 to stick to his fellow Toyota, while the two Pontiacs of Random J and Stout are now the two lead drivers on the inside. Random trying to get some side draft in the middle, but to turn stream 4, he remains side by side of Haas. Jordan's still right behind. Pack still 2 by 2 for the most part. Coming to lap number complete lap number 2. Random J with the lead with Robbie Spurly now making it 3 wide coming off the triangle. Riley Spurly still in search. The reigning rookie of last year's run-up and the reigning rookie of the year winner still searching for his first channel win. And even though it's not a full-on points-paying race, this is still a win. It still counts as a win, nevertheless. Also coming in this picture is fellow Pontiac. Also coming to speak as Random continues to lead, fellow Pontiac Alexander Rowe, of course, is in that backup car now fast approaching. Random brief in the middle in front of his fellow teammate Estelle before moving back down to the inside in front of Rowley Spurly. Continue to turn stream 4. This pack is going to be just like before last duel. All 3 by 3. In the complete lap number 3, Random J still maintains the lead as we're 4 wide again, this time between Kyler Sustry, Miles, and Gutierrez as with contact. Whoa! Brad Ream gets turned alongside Staple in the 94 of Gutierrez as we have a caution for the first time in WeatherTech Duel history. Oh man, Gutierrez, I don't think has too much damage. Nathan Stapleton and Brad Ream, both team owners of NS Racing, and Railfan respectively with spun around there. I'm not sure if they have any serious damage. Of course, take a look at the replay. Also involved the 98 of Matthew Huber, Al Bunch at 81 as well. Jason Albert, I think, also was involved. Of course, Kyle Sustry was the main perpetrator of that wreck, but coming back to the line to take the lead for the come back to the line, who's going to assume the lead. Random tried to block Spurly that time, but it was still good enough for the 53 to maintain the lead. So this will be the first caution in WeatherTech Duel history, and because these are shorter races, we're going to have cautions under road course rules. So these caution laps are only going to last 2 laps as opposed to the traditional 4 or 5 laps an oval typically has. But of course, we're going to take a look at the replay to see what caused our first ever caution here in the WeatherTech Duels, and potentially more drivers could go to backups. But I don't think this wreck is nearly as serious as what we saw in practice. So let's start with this. So let's start here. Kyler Sustry actually had multiple drivers go 4 wide here. So it was not just starting with Kyler Sustry, he makes contact with Owen Miles. Let me actually try a better angle. That's not the best angle. Helicopter angle. Yeah, this is the best angle. Sure. No, I just switched out of it. Come on. There we go. So I'm gonna start with Kyler Sustry because he was really the first person I saw. Oh, these guys went. Oh, this driver's going 4 wide even back here. So, you know, just 3 laps into duel number 2. Not the Firecracker 400, but the duel. Yeah, drivers already going 4 wide, starting with Al Bunch, Bradley, Ream, Hubert, and Rose. But the one that really broke the camel's back was Miles and Sustry going 4 wide alongside Gutierrez and Anderson. Oh, looks like no, Bradley Ream got turned first. Let's look at that again. Bradley Ream got turned first by Al Bunch. The camel's back broke with the first instance of 4 wide, and Sustry Miles, which is kind of collateral damage. So this is coming off turn number 4. This is towards the very back of the pack, by the way. So Al Bunch gets a run in the middle. Bradley Ream maintains the inside, with Matthew Hubert and Caleb Rose also maintain their respective lines. But then as it comes to the Trival, Hubert gets a big run here in between both Hubert and Ream. But as it come off the Trival here, fortunately, Bunch just runs out of room, gets into both the 98 and the 6, sending Bradley Ream around first. Around front of him, the same thing kind of happens with Kyler Sustry and Owen Miles. Hubert takes a pretty nasty hit on his right side, right side passenger side in the wall. Bradley Ream went for a spin alongside Gutierrez. Let's take a look again in this angle and just kind of focus on the other drivers who went 4 wide. And I don't know why you guys going 4 wide in the duels, but it's Daytona for you. So similar to what happened with Bunch and Ream, you see Kyler Sustry maintain his line, but Owen Miles looks to the inside of the 19. And then as we go into the Trival right here, yeah, I see Miles looking to the inside of Sustry, while Sustry is right up against Jose Gutierrez's driver's side door. And then you see the strong run the inside always gets in these corners, whether if it's the Trival or just one of the normal turns. The inside always gets strong runs at these super speedways, and Owen Miles is no exception here. But unfortunately, Miles is stuck in it. This will put Miles 4 wide as him and Sustry make contact. I'm gonna see who goes around. Let's see who goes. I think it was Miles who went around first, but I could be wrong. But no, Gutierrez comes down in front of the 19. That's when Sustry gets into both the 94 and the 96, with Nathan Stapleton being a pure victim of that, which is kind of collateral damage when Gutierrez came down on the 19. Since the 97 and the 94 round, Miles was able to mostly dive down the apron to avoid, with Sustry and Al Bunch somehow remaining on the track, not really getting any damage there whatsoever. Take a look at that in real time again. So it was kind of easier to just demonstrate in slow motion, but when you're actually like in the action, like when you're actually driving for these drivers, it's like split-second decisions. And from a driver's point of view, from Bunch and Miles' point of view, they both got really strong runs. And if you get a strong run, of course, in racing, you have to take it. But unfortunately, it came at the cost of the other drivers surrounding both Miles and Bunch. Yeesh. Took this from another angle too. This angle. Spectator angle, I think, right? Yeah. A few more angles, and we'll do some onboards. Alright, on board. Let's start on board with Kyler Sustry in the 19. Who was really the first person to start this whole chain reaction. Yeah, so look at that. Let's look at this slow motion again. Let's look at this again. Slow motion. So coming off out of the start-finish line here comes Miles to the right of Sustry, pretty much right up against Sustry's driver's side door. But then Gutierrez Oh, I think Miles maybe forced Sustry into the 94, I think, actually. Or maybe it was a combination of Gutierrez also coming down. But regardless, when Gutierrez made contact with the 19, he came up and he made also contact with Staple as well. Sent that 97 around. Again, had absolutely nowhere to go. Poor Staple had absolutely nowhere to go there. It's going for another driver, this time without Bunch. He also went for a wide. No, Bunch had to lift it. So Bunch had to lift a little bit. He tried to get out of the situation, but instead, unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. He got into the 6. Do a few more drivers. Let's go on board with Miles. So here's the run Miles is going to get on the inside. Huge run there. I think Sunshine also looked it as well. Because he also tried to look. And Miles not really making any contact with anyone, so good miss there for the 96. And finally on board with Bradley Green, who's having an absolute nightmare of a season thus far here in the Palm Summer League. Especially, well, maybe a spotter told him, but from this point of view, you can't even see what's really going on. Yeah, all of a sudden. Thankfully, the only driver who made any serious contact was, yeah, let's do one more on board. I promise. Only driver who made any serious contact with anything was the 90. I think in my eyes, the 98 of Matthew Huber. Let's go on board with him. Yeah, that was a pretty solid look there into the outside wall. I think there was some damage to the 98. Let's see. Oh yeah, kind of hard to see, but yeah, kind of hard to see, but he does have some significant right side damage to his car right there. Yeah, I wish I had a better angle of this, but right here is gonna be good. Yeah, pretty decent right side damage to the 98 of Hubert. So we're gonna see how he does for the rest of this duel. And we're going to see if he has to go, and the jury's still out if the 98, or if any of these drivers really that were involved, have to go to backups or not. Now, the leader that time by was, of course, Random J in the 53. Just cut to the penultimate lap before we go back green. So Random J was the leader, followed by the 20 of Rowley Spurly, Jack Haas in the 75, Alexander Rowe in the 63, and teammate Jordan Stout in the 11, round off the rest of your top 5. Like I said, we're going to just quickly to resume. I know it's kind of killing the illusion, but it's a one-off live stream, so in the world. So it's gonna be interesting. So Random and Jordan, similar to the start. Okay, so this is gonna be interesting now. Random and Jordan are the two Pontiacs on the inside, where Rowe is a lone Pontiac on the outside. How many Dodges up here? Isn't really many. There's not many Dodges up here, so Riley Spurley is going to potentially be a sitting duck on this restart. Jack Haas and potentially 18 of Ryan Rodriguez could hook up together since they're both Toyotas. But we're going to have to wait and see. Coming to this restart, Pace Truck heads down pit road. We're back on the green here in duel number 2. So you see some drivers towards the back of the pack. Potentially, I'm not sure if they intentionally laid back or not, but two of those drivers are the Jacoan cars of Benny Watson and Owen Miles. And you can see Matthew Hubert's really slow. It's here Staple and Staple is forcing the 98 3 wide alongside Brad Ream. Gutierrez potentially also might be slow as well. We're going to have to wait and see as this race continues on. Down the back straightaway, Random down the middle in front of Stout. Where Random moves up to the outside in front of Spurly, coming back down to the inside as well as Stout. And of course, with these caution laps, and of course with those caution, mostly thanks to all those caution laps, Random has a pretty good chance here of getting at least 1 point in this dual race to get the most laps led. And coming to the halfway point here in lap number 7, Random J leads another lap alongside with Jordan Stout right behind him as both of them move up to the outside. But as soon as I say that, both of them move back down the racetrack. This time through turns 1 and 2. Stout's going to actually stay in the middle. Random trying to move back down to the inside with a fast approaching Brian Rodriguez off turn number 2 now. Continuing down the back straightaway, you can see how slow that 98 is of Rodriguez, so I would imagine that team's definitely have to go to a backup car for the Firecracker. 400 David Stapleton trying to, I think he is with pace with the rest of the field, and Gutierrez, I'm not sure. Not sure what Gutierrez's status is, but turns 3 and 4, this pack is back to 3x3. Random back to the outside in front of, as well as Brian Rodriguez before the 53 moves back down to the inside, coming to lap number 9. So far, Random looks like he has the best car, especially in this Queen Air, but just like we saw with duel number 1, Random has developed a gap over the rest of this pack, but that's going to quickly diminish here with Matthew Hill fast approaching into turn number 2. Off turn number 2, I should say. Tuning down the back straightaway, here comes Hill to the inside of the 53 of Random, now stranded on the outside with no help whatsoever going through turns 3 and 4. Caleb Rose is going to be the driver who's going to help the 90 car out to Caleb Rose will be the driver behind the 90 car to help him rocket to the lead in front of Random. Kyle Sushai now back into this picture despite being the catalyst of that wreck. So actually have multiple drivers who are catalysts in that wreck back in this main group. Nathan Stapleton, Albert, Brad, Ream, so I guess, and Miles as well. I guess nothing got too bad of a damage. Gutierrez just barely maintaining pace with this pack. I'm not sure what his status is, but Matthew Hubert, of course, with that damage, he's going to finish this duel well off the pace. Meanwhile, here's another battle for the lead. This time, Caleb Rose forcing Matthew Hill to up the track as he's going to be side by side. Of course, Rose has help from fellow Dodger Kyler Sustry. Both drivers move up to the middle, do turns 3 and 4 before moving back down to the inside. Hill and Random tried moving back down to the middle that time by, but instead, the Dodge Duel is going to get a good run, do turns 3 and 4. As Rose and Hill remain side by side for the lead, coming to lap number 11. And whoa, Rose with just barely timing his block perfectly in front of Sushai. If he was like maybe 2 seconds off or so, that could have ended very badly for this pack. You always say duel number 2 is the more insane duel, and we're seeing that already with this aggressive racing. And of course, that caution we had. But of course, this race is still not over yet. Jason Albert now fast approaching with help from Al Bunch. Helicopter cam down the back straightaway. Rose and Hill continue to remain side by side for the lead through turns 3 and 4. Both drivers move down the racetrack with Rose once again on the inside. Hill once again in the middle for Jason Albert now fast approaches, looking to the inside of the 59. These two remain side by side. Coming to lap number 12. Only 3 laps to go here in duel number 2. Rose still maintains the lead, but still remains side by side of Hill. And if he doesn't watch out here, Albert's gonna make a 3 wide. He will make a 3 wide for the lead through turns 1 and 2 this time by. And much like our last duel, most of this main pack is all 3x3 as nearly contact between Albert and Rose that time by. As you remain 3 wide for the lead. Spurly, you see back there trying to move down to the inside swiftly in front of Owen Miles. It looks like Jason Albert's going to have the advantage over Rose off turn number 4 this time by. Lots of dodges now. You see this inside is filled with dodges, starting with Al Bunch, Nathan Stapleton as he moves to the middle. Almost Brad Ream there, near made it 4 wide that time by. And it says Stapleton swiftly moves back down to the inside to tuck in between the 2 dodges. For now, Albert the lone Chevy. And this main group maintains the lead. Bunch still right behind the 4 car, continuing down the back straightaway for the second to last time. Take a look at the helicopter cam again. Albert is going to move to the outside in front of Rose. Bunch now to the middle in front of Sushar before both those drivers try to move back down to the inside. But instead, Albert, both of them going to move to the middle. Rose also tried to move down, but there was no room for him whatsoever. So here's Nathan Stapleton fast approaching now side by side with the 81. This time by come to the white flag here in duel number 2 of Albert all by himself. Is anyone going to get a strong run in the 4 car on this final lap? Jason Albert's gap still, it looks like it's impressively through turns 1 to 2. Albert continues to maintain his gap over the rest of the field, but here come the Dodges fast approaching, all being team owners for Staple, of course being Staple, Ream, and Anderson. Continuing down the back surely for the final time. Is anyone going to have any answers for Albert as Staple moves to the middle in front of the Sush try? Here comes Bradley Ream trying to look to the inside of Staple before Staple comes down the block. Staple may have, this might be one wide. This potentially could be the last shot for anyone to make the move on Jason Albert, but instead, looks like Albert's going to maintain his lead. Coming to the tri-oval into the checkered flag, Jason Albert wins duel number 2. Looks like, oh, we got a wreck! Riley Spurly spins Haley Anderson into Owen Miles and Alexander Rowe. Oh my goodness, and for this, oh my goodness, and we got a wreck coming to the end of duel number 2 of the, I didn't have the best camera timing there. But instant look at the replay, there's going to be an instant replay, I guess I should say, as you get another wreck here in duel number 2, this time coming to the checkered flag. So let's look what happened here. So, oh, just like before, another instance of 4 wide contact between Sushtry and Anderson. Like Anderson maybe came down on Riley Spurly, sending that 7 car back in front of the pack, in front of Owen Miles and Alexander Rowe, who probably got the worst of all of that. And of course, Rowe, as I mentioned multiple times already, was one of those drivers who had to go to a backup. He could potentially, as that 63 team, could potentially go to another backup before the summer's biggest race. Oh my God, that is absolutely unprecedented for sure. So let's look again. Watch this. Look at this in slow motion from this angle. Well, with multiple angles of Spurly, but watch the 28 here. Closely watch the 28. So this was, of course, coming to the travel to the checkered flag. This was pretty much Albert. Pretty much had no it was pretty much no contest to challenge Jason Albert. He was going to win this race regardless, but of course, because you earned, but of course, some of these drivers behind Albert are trying their best to at least improve their positions for the Firecracker 400. It's just pretty much an act of desperation here for these drivers to improve their starting spots for the race, as the top 3 was pretty much locked at that point. But then looks like Spurly, well, I think Anderson, it was a combination, kind of similar to the first wreck. It was a combination of Anderson coming down into 28 and Spurly being on that left rear, just constantly trying to gain momentum on Anderson's left rear. But then unfortunately, Anderson came back up in the. Actually, let me phrase that. Let me do that again. That's why I pre-record my races, because I screw up all the time. Anyways, so again, oh, there was contact between the 19 and the 7. Haley Anderson. At this point, this is the end of the race right here. And again, it's just a combination of both Anderson coming down in front of 28 and Spurly just leaning in on Anderson's left rear. Sent both drivers off the track down to the apron below the yellow line. And then here comes Anderson coming back in front of the entire field of Owen Miles, pretty much having nowhere to go. Hits the 7 car alongside the 63 of Alexander Rowe. Campo Marsh got some damage alongside the 79 of Benny Watson. So it's going to be a question if he's going to go to a backup car. Brian Rodriguez also got damage from that. Jordan Stout barely missing that too. Whoa, great miss there for the 79. Oh, miss there for the 11, I should say. Take what is in real time. And we're going on board with pretty much everyone here since I want to kill some time before I end this stream. Yeah, almost very similar to our caution earlier in this race. Just drivers going 4 wide in a track that frankly cannot support 4 wide whatsoever. Let's go on board with Riley Spurly to get one more close angle just to see how he got into the 7. Yeah, Spurly had a run. tried to. I don't know if he tried to lift, but I think it was just too late. He got that run. He could not get up. He just couldn't stop his momentum whatsoever and got into Anderson. Let's go on board with Haley Anderson to see his point of view. Let's go with his rear cam. We haven't really done too many rear cams today. Yeah, Anderson did come down a little bit on the 20. It was a combination of Spurly and and unlike with Staple and Bradley, who did go around, who did spin out, actually this pretty much the exact same part of the racetrack. Of course, Anderson did get in to Owen Miles and Alexander Rowe. Was on board with both drivers there. Yeah, we're going on board with Benny Watson before. And we're going on board with pretty much everyone who was involved in this wreck. Yeah, Miles had this nowhere to go. He just touched him, but that could still be significant enough for Miles to go to a backup car, in my opinion at least. Let's go on board for another driver, this team being Benny Watson. Of course, Miles' teammate. I think. Does he have any side damage? Oh, not really. Not much side damage from the 79, so he could be okay. Miles made contact with two drivers, so I think what's happening when I see if we'll go to a backup or not. On board with Brian Ruiz, and after the 18, we're going on board to 6. Rodriguez did get into the 63. And speaking of the 63, bro, let's go on board with him. You probably got the worst of all of that. Got into the wall twice there. I made contact with both the wall and the, yeah, I got into going over again. Just yeah, Rogue definitely got the worst of this one. There's nowhere to go. Got into the 79 there and went for a spin and tapped the wall right there. So looks like Alexander Rowe may have to go to a backup again after going to a backup. Look at his car. It's crab walking. Yeah, he definitely has to go. For sure, definitely a backup for the 63 for the second time here in Firecracker Week. Besides that wreck, the three big winners here in this duel. Scores Jason Albert, who wins duel number 2. He advances to the Fast 6, getting 3 points. Alongside Nathan Stapleton, who finishes second. He gets 2 points. And Bradley Rima gets a point as he finishes third. So great comeback from actually all these drivers. Because all these drivers got involved in that first caution. Both Reem and Staple went for a spin. Albert I think avoided or mostly got minor damage, but both drivers were around the epicenter where that first caution happened. But despite that, all of them managed to make full recoveries and finish 1-2 and earn points here in the duels. But anyways, let's take a look at the finishing results for duel number 2 this time, and we'll wrap up this stream. I need to see. I know you saw the starting lineup briefly flash there, but of course it's irrelevant since this race is over. So here we go. Jason, the 3 drivers advancing to the Fast 6 tomorrow night is Jason Albert in the 4, who gets 3 points, Nathan Stapleton, who gets 2 points, and Bradley Ream, who gets a single point. And even though it's just a single point, and it's interesting to know, the drivers who advanced to duel number 1 are drivers up towards, the top 3 drivers from duel number 1 were drivers up towards the point standings going into this race. But the drivers here in duel number 2 who got points were the drivers mostly towards the back of the field. So Albert, Staple, and Ream, all drivers towards the back half in points, but all of them managed to get points. So they're trying to make, so definitely good effort for all three of those drivers there, trying to get the most out of Firecracker League here this year to really somewhat salvage their season. Meanwhile, Al Bunch in fourth is going to finish fourth, while Haley Anderson rounds off the rest of the top five. But of course, the question is, will we have to go to a backup because he was, of course, one of those drivers because he, of course, got turned by Owen Miles, Riley Spurly, I should say, in the finish. Kyle Sushire finished sixth. Caleb Rose will finish seventh. Riley Spurler finished 28th. Bibi Ruiz will finish ninth. Owen Miles rounds off the rest of the top 10. As for everybody else, Matthew Hill will finish 11th. Campbell Marsh 12th. Alexander Rowe, who more than likely going to have to go to another backup car, will finish 13th. Or Random J clinches the most laps led despite finishing 14th. Benny Watson will finish 15th. Jack Haas 16th. Jordan Stout in 17th. Brian Rodriguez in 18th. Jose Angel Gutierrez is likely going to go to the backup cars. He was just barely keeping up with the rest of the field, but it was clear his car was definitely his car definitely did suffer from the damage he obtained from that wreck, and that's especially apparent for the driver who finished 20th, Matthew Hubert, who's for sure going to a backup car as he finished this race 22 seconds off the leader. Now, as for the drivers who earned points during the duel, Brendan Beal and Jason Albert both earned 3 points, the winners of both duel number 1 and duel number 2 respectively. Jordan Forbes, despite not advancing to the Fast Six, will still earn 2 points, alongside Nathan Stapleton also earning 2 points. And the two drivers who finished third in their duels, Joe T will earn a single point, or Brad Ream will earn a single point as well. And then after that are the two drivers who led the most laps in each duel. Roberto Crown led the most laps in duel number 1, who will get a point, alongside Random J into 53. And as for those points after the duel race, Brendan Beal still maintains a points lead, actually extends his points lead with 110 points. Going into this race, he had 107 points, but those 3 points from winning this race will extend his point lead by 3 extra points, as now Brian Rodriguez trails Beal by 8 points. Keith Harrison now trails by 10. Jordan Forbes moves up to 4th in points, now behind by 11. While that moves, and subsequently Benny Watson is going to move down to 5th, now behind by 12. Baby Ruiz still in 6th, behind by 14. He's actually tied with Joe T, but of course Ruiz with his win will have the tiebreaker over Joe T, despite Joe T getting dual points and not Ruiz. Roberto Crown moves up to 8th in points, swaps positions with Jack Haas, as Crown's down behind by 15, and Haas now behind by 16. And finally, Random J maintains the top 10, he's now behind by 17. And of course, these are the drivers moving on to the Fast Six tomorrow. And of course, these are the 6 drivers moving on to tomorrow night's Fast Six. That'll be on this channel. It will be pre-recorded as opposed to being live streamed at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, barring of course any delays. Brendan Beal, Jason Albert, Joe T, Nathan Stapleton, Daniel Voiles, and Brad Ream, and the orders that these 6 drivers will go out for Fast Six tomorrow night will be randomized and be revealed shortly before the release of tomorrow's Fast Six. And as for the drivers going to backups, Owen Miles will go to a backup. And subsequently, of course, all drivers going to the backup cars will start in the rear for the Firecracker 400. Owen Miles will go to the backup. He'll go to a backup. He'll start 32nd. Haley Anderson will start 33rd. Brian Rodriguez, who of course came to this race second in points, will start 34th. And Jose Angel Gutierrez will start the Firecracker 400 in 35th. And these 4 drivers who had to go to backups after this race will join. Actually, another driver I forgot to mention is going to a backup is the 98 of Matthew Hubert. Yeah, of course, with me, my graphical screw-ups. But yeah, Matthew Hubert, another driver who's adding on to this list. I forgot to add to this list. He'll go to. Let me just add it real quick because I'll probably just. Yeah, let me just add it real quick, just because I'll probably submit this. I'll probably take a screenshot of this graphic. But yeah, of course, Hubert got the worst damage out of any driver here today in any of the duels, really. And of course, the full Firecracker 400 lineup will be set. And of course, the full Firecracker 400 lineup will be set tomorrow with the Fast Six, and that will be revealed also on the Discord after the Fast Six is all sorted out. Just get these graphics all sorted out. I made these graphics like today because I was just too tired after the whole Atlanta stuff yesterday to do anything. But just get these sorted out real quick. Pretend nothing ever happened. Um, Come on. Yeah, sometimes PowerPoint's weird with how animations are done or how graphics and stuff are done, but like I'm trying to move some of the stuff up. I'm trying to move some of this stuff in. And so of course I gotta fix this other graphic too. Right? No, I don't. Okay. Yeah, I forgot it. Yeah. See how quick I can get this in. I know it's weird. I know it's just kind of weird or just one thing, but all right, it's all fixed. You do not see anything except for this. Okay, so I think after the fixed graphic, Miles will start 31st, Anderson will start 32nd, Rodriguez will start 33rd, Gutierrez will start 34th, and Matthew Hubert will start 35th. Of course, Hubert got the worst damage on anyone out of all those drivers, out of all these drivers involved in wrecks that had to go to a backup. And of course, these 5 drivers will join these other 5 drivers who have to go to backup. So 10 drivers have to go to backups, which is crazy. So of course, Jordan Forbes, the defending Firecracker winner and series champion, goes also one of those drivers who have to go to a backup. He will start 36th. Last year's pole winner Johnny Hernandez won't have that chance again, another driver who went to a backup. He will start 37th. Caleb Rose, winner from Japan, will start 38th. Alexander Vitali will start 39th, and Alexander Rowe had to go to another backup. Of course, he was not only wrecked his primary car on Wednesday night, but he wrecked his second car just now, and he's had to go to a third car, and that subsequently will start him dead last for the summer's biggest race. So anyways, of course, next up for Firecracker League, tomorrow will be the Fast 6 at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, barring any delays, of course. And of course, all these times are barring any delays. And of course, Friday, July 4th, will be the running of the summer's biggest race, that being the Firecracker 400. That'll be, of course, pre-recorded, and that'll be at 7:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so definitely do not miss the edition of the summer's biggest race. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this different approach to me making this race course. It's not perfect. It's the thing about live streams and versus pre-recorded. For live streams, your mistakes you cannot fix. Unless you do what I did just now and pause the damn stream and fixed it. But yeah, live streams, your mistakes will be shown, but with pre-recorded stuff, you can hide any mistakes. So that's of course the difference with live stream versus pre-recorded. But hope you all enjoyed this approach for me making this race. I hope you all enjoyed this approach. When it comes to me doing these races, I probably won't do a live stream like Firecracker or anything that isn't like a less fixed race like I did last year with the 600. I probably won't do any live stream races anytime soon. But I mainly did this just because of the scheduling stuff for Firecracker League. I still wanted to do the duels, but I just did not have time whatsoever to make a edited video for the duels. So I just thought, I just might as well do this because I still want to do the duels because I wanted to remain consistent with all the PSL seasons when it came to bonus points. And even though those bonus points, I will say, even though those bonus points aren't much, like 3 points for Beal, that's not much. I mean, it sounds like a lot, but because of course last year's championship was decided by a single point. It was decided by a single point. If Spurly got like 1 or 2 points in last year's championship in the duels, that would have been the difference maker between him and Forbes. So these dual points could go a long way, even though they don't sound like a lot of points. But anyways, y'all, hope you guys enjoyed this live stream race. Thank you all for watching, of course. And I'll see y'all tomorrow night